Hi everyone, this is Mr. Torres, and I'm going to be talking to you about trombone setup, as well as how to hold it, as well as how to maintain it, how to clean it. So first things first, when you're setting up your instrument, please make sure your case is right side up. There's three ways you can check. The first one is our latches. For the most part, everyone's latches will look similar, and they will open upwards. Just make sure we're checking to make sure that the latches open upwards. The other ways you can check is if the name of the instrument, the make and or model, is on top, as well as the sticker from Bertrand's Music. If you notice at the bottom, there's nothing there. So that's how you can tell it's the bottom of the instrument. Once you know it's in the correct position, you can start opening your case. In this case, I'm setting it up on top of a chair just to make it a little bit easier for you guys to see with my camera. But I would generally suggest putting it in the floor. It makes it a lot easier to set up on the floor or on a large flat surface like a table. Just being careful not to make sure that we drop anything. Okay, so we take off our latches. Once we have our latches, we open up our case, and you'll see we have our bell right here, as well as our slide. For the most part, everyone's going to have a similar setup with their case. You're going to take off this piece here and remove the slide. Very careful, as our slide is the most fragile piece of the instrument. Any small dent can make it very difficult to play. When you remove it, just make sure we are careful when we're removing it from underneath this little pocket. And we have our slide. If you notice on our slide, one piece is a little bit longer than the other one. The shorter piece, that's where the mouthpiece goes. The longer one goes on the bell. Okay? And this piece here, along the longer side, is called the slide brace. And it's important because we're going to talk about the slide brace when we start talking about our grip. Okay? So, once our slide is out, we can start taking out our bell. And when we're setting it up, we're going to try to make a corner with our slide and our bell. So we're setting it up. We just put it in. Don't tighten it yet because you want to make sure you're checking for that corner that you make. So I'll try to hold it for the camera here. And you notice the bell portion here is trying to make a corner here with the slide portion. Once you have that corner there, you're going to take this screw here and righty-tighty. Tighten it up nice and tight. That way it doesn't move on you. And you should have your trombone set up that way. Then you can start taking out your mouthpiece. And when you're putting your mouthpiece on the trombone, you don't have to jam it in and like really make sure it's not moving. Just let it go, let gravity do all the work, and a slight twist. And that's all you need to make sure that the mouthpiece is not going anywhere. Once it's there, make sure we're not smacking it or tapping it or anything like that, because that'll get the mouthpiece stuck, and we don't want that, okay? So once that's ready to go, with our grip, we're going to be using our left hand. I know there's a couple of you that are left-handed that would prefer to use your right hand, but for consistency's sake, we want to use our left hand. So once you're ready to do our hold, try to show me kind of like you're showing me something really tiny, like a little tiny bug or something. And if you notice this long pole here, this is the bell brace. You're going to be wrapping the bell brace with those fingers, like so. And then your thumb is going to be wrapped around it, just kind of hanging out there. Then with your finger, you're going to be setting it against this long piece here. Depending on the length of your fingers, you could be way out here, you could be really close to the bell. It depends solely on the size of your hand. Now your other fingers, they're just kind of hanging out there, right? Remember we talked about the slide brace? They're going to be wrapped around this. If you show you here, how they're wrapped around, and that's going to create a nice little support for the rest of the trombone. So just to go through the steps again, you're going to show me how tiny something is. Put your fingers through, going around this bell brace here. Your thumb's just wrapping around there. Your index finger, your pointing finger is just kind of resting on this slide here, just holding it. And then your three remaining fingers wrap around the slide brace. Once you're good on that grip, when you're ready to set up to play, it's going to go on your left shoulder as such. Now, the temptation is you kind of have it set up in a comfortable position and you go to the instrument. You don't want to do that because you notice my neck is all really crooked and stuff. Stand up nice and straight, bring the instrument to you. You might be thinking, it's going to get tired over time. The more you do it, the less tiring it gets. So you want to hold it up and bring the instrument to you. That way you're not avoiding you're avoiding having any neck issues for a long period of time holding that weird hunch position. So nice and straight as you're holding your trombone in playing position. Always make sure too that the safety lock is on. Once you're ready to play, make sure your fingers are still holding onto the slide. That way when you move the safety, your slide doesn't go flying out. Okay? That's making sure that that's secured once you're ready to go. And whenever you're not playing, always make sure the safety lock is on, because we sometimes forget and that could be problematic. Okay? So now that we know how to set up our instrument, how to set up our playing position, let's review how to put it away. So first things first, you want to take the mouthpiece off. Remember, it's nice and easy, opposite direction, slight twist, pull out, put it back in its case. Then go back to the screw here, lefty-loosey. And then, when you're ready to remove the pieces, you have this brace here, as well as the other one, that you can have a pretty solid grip on for both hands, and then just slowly start twisting side to side, and then it should come off cleanly. Similar to the mouthpiece, you don't want to jam it in when you're putting it on. Just let gravity do all the work. Then, for the bell, there's only one way it actually fits in your case. If you try putting it the other way, it'll be impossible. It just will not go in. Okay? So just find that right position, and it should fit in nice and cleanly. Then remove the flap here for the slide. And remember, we talked about the little pocket here? That's where the brace and mouthpiece area is going to be going first. And if you notice on the opposite side of the slide, we have what's called the water key. And that's what we use to take out any extra condensation that builds up in the trombone. That part's going to be facing towards you when you put it on. If it's facing the case, it's not going to go in cleanly. So make sure it's facing you. And you'll know it's facing you because it sticks out like a sore thumb, quite literally in this case. So you put this part here in the little pocket, then you push the slide in, and it should go in cleanly. If it doesn't go in cleanly, just make sure it's the water key is on the right side. It's facing you. Then you push in on the cover here, and then you should be able to close it cleanly, and just make sure you always latch it when you're ready to go. Okay? The last piece I'm going to show you is how to maintain the slide, because the slide needs to be able to move very cleanly in order for you to play, right? So I'll remove that first. And in your cleaning kits, you should have received two specific bottles. One is your Slido mix, your lubrication, and a water spray bottle similar to this. We only use water in these, okay? So don't feel like you have to throw in the lubrication in the bottle. This is separate. When you're ready to use lubrication, you're going to very carefully take the safety lock off, and then you're going to hold the slide up. Make sure you don't go all the way, and you can use the floor to kind of hold the bottom part for you. You can also ask someone as a volunteer to hold it for you as you're putting the lubrication. That'll make it a lot easier. If you need tips on how to do this in person, next time we see you guys, just ask and we can help you hold it up while you're putting lubrication. Otherwise, you can find another adult or someone nearby that can hold it for you while you're putting it on. So once you're ready to put lubrication on, you take the cap off the lubrication bottle, and you notice the little point on it. You're going to be pointing downwards, letting the gravity do all the work, and you're going to give a slight squeeze against the slide. You're going to put a couple drops, and you can use a tip to kind of guide you as you're putting it on. And you don't have to go as far down as possible, but far enough. And you're going to do the same thing on the other side. You know it's coming out because it's going to look like thick honey, and it can look either transparent, clear, or even slightly white, depending on the different types that you have. And you can do that on the other slide as well, putting a couple of drops there, and then putting a couple of drops on the other side as well. Once you have done that, you're going to move the slide up and down, and it's going to help spread the lubrication across the entire slide. Make sure to go too far, because then the slide will come off, right? If it does, not a big deal. Just put it back on. Easier said than done. But once you put the tips on there, you should be able to just get it back on. So just make sure you don't go too far. And just move it around. Once that lubrication is on, then you take your spray bottle, fill with just water. You're going to open up the slide again. And you're going to do maybe 4 to 6 sprays on each side. And then flip it. And Then, same thing, move the slide up and down, and this should feel a lot smoother than before, okay? If it ever feels like maybe there's like sand or dirt or something that's making it kind of grainy, that's not moving very good, or kind of making it feel sticky, that's when you want to put lubrication on it. Otherwise, for the most part, every week you just want to use a spray bottle on your slide before you start playing, because the Slido mix, the lubrication, stays active on the slide for a while. All you really need to do to reactivate and make it slippery again is water. That's why you have the spray bottle. So always have those two, and then you should be good to go. Then you put the safety lock on when you're done, and you're good. The other two things the other thing that was added is the cleaning cloth. This, for the most part, you use on the outside portion of the instrument, just to keep it nice and clean, because our hands have a lot of oils that can affect the lacquer, the plating on the brass instrument. So you just want to just clean it, wipe it down at the end of the day. Okay? Other than that, you're good to go. Let's get to the next lesson.